So for the second summer in a row, Peter Strome has traded an Edmonton fan favorite, this time trading Jordan Eberle to the New York Islanders for Ryan Strome. So I figured, why not do another NHL 17 trade sim, see how it would turn out. So as you guys can see here, have the trade difficulty set to hard, most realistic setting, but I just want to talk about kind of the trade in my personal opinion before we actually see what happens with the sim. I think, again, he definitely did not get enough value. Like with Adam Larsson, I could definitely see why he had to make the trade. Edmonton needed more defense, but still, haul for Larsson 1-for-1 is not fair. Like, you would want at least a second round pick coming back with Larsson, or like a decent prospect. And again, here with Eberle for Ryan Strome just does not seem fair 1-for-1. Like, you'd expect Ryan Strome plus a second, Ryan Strome plus a decent prospect. Now again, last year's trade was done because Oilers needed defense. This year's trade is done because they need cap space, but really they need cap space for next year when they have to pay McDavid. Their cap situation for this year is actually fine. Like, they can afford Draisaitl for sure. It's more next year when McDavid apparently might get paid $14 million that they actually need that cap space. So I think they kind of lost out on this trade again. We'll see what happens though in NHL 17. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the trade is more fair than I think. But looking online, it seems that most people agree with me and think that, again, Chiarelli did not get enough for his players. So in this game here, Jordan Eberle, trade value is actually a lot lower than I expected. I thought it was around Nuge's value there. It's actually like half of Nuge's value, maybe just over half. He's still got medium elite potential here, 85 overall, 26 years old, making $6 million for, I think, 2 more years. It says 3 years though because we're at the beginning of the season. So like I was saying, Ryan Strome's making $2.5 million, so $3.5 million less. It will probably say 2 years, but he actually does have 1 year left on his deal. And apparently too, they're going to use that $3.5 million in savings to try and sign Chris Russell to like a 4-year, $4 million deal, which I think is such a dumb signing. Like, he is not worth that. Schlemko just got traded to the Canadiens. He's making like $2 million a year for the next 3 years. I think that's more like Russell's worth, but I don't know, like, Chiarelli, I guess, can do whatever he wants. When you have McDavid, I feel like he can basically do anything, and he'll carry the team. And as you guys can see here with Ryan Strome, he's got medium top 6, so his potential is a little bit lower than Eberle's. 84 overall, though, so he's actually only 1 overall below Eberle. I thought Eberle was an 86 and Strome was an 83, but they're actually a lot closer than I thought. 23 years old, though, so a few years younger, and like I said, making $2.5 million, so a lot cheaper. The trade value there is actually very similar. I would say that's almost like the exact same. It's hard to tell, but we'll see what the Islanders say. They want Eberle, so that might be good here for the Oilers' perspective. We'll see if this trade goes through. Trade ejected. So 1-for-1. The Islanders say no. They do not want Jordan Eberle for Ryan Strome. That is insane. I thought for sure like they would say yes to this trade. Alright guys, so I'm going to try this trade as the Islanders, and I really haven't given my thoughts on the trade yet from an Islanders perspective. Obviously with them, I think it's a great trade. Like, they were trying to add a top 6 forward. Jordan Eberle is definitely a top 6 forward, and he's much better and much more proven than Ryan Strome. Like, if you look at their stats, I think Jordan Eberle's worst full season, which was this year, is comparable to Ryan Strome's best season. Like, I think in Eberle's worst season, he put up around 50 points, and Strome's best season so far was around 50 points. So from the Islanders' perspective, they're just getting a much more established forward, and one that will most likely play on the same line as Tavares and probably light it up. So I will try this trade here, trading Strome for Eberle. And not only is Eberle probably going to play on the same line as Tavares, but I believe Eberle and Tavares are also pretty good friends. So I mean, that probably just makes the trade even better for the Islanders as they're trying to re-sign Tavares. He is in his last year of his contract, making like $5.5 million, which is definitely not enough for Tavares. He's doing a big pay raise, and the Islanders are basically going to do everything to try and get him to stay in New York. Bring a friend in Eberle, who's also a top 6 winger, try and make their team better, make the playoffs, just show Tavares why he should stay there. Whether or not he does is definitely going to be a big question. If he doesn't, he'll be like the biggest free agent since Stamkos, even though Stamkos was only a free agent for like a week or whatever. And now we're going to try to trade as the Islanders. So you can see Edmonton actually wants Ryan Strome, just like the Islanders wanted Jordan Eberle. The trade value here looks like Strome's actually slightly higher. So with Edmonton wanting him, they might say yes to this, which means I thought like Edmonton for sure lost this trade, but in NHL 17, it looks like they might have won it. So we'll see what happens here. Trade rejected though. So I guess it's a pretty fair trade if both teams reject it in the sim. I don't think I've ever had that happen before, so that's very interesting, especially since both teams we were trading a player to wanted the player. It just might be like so close, and it's on hard difficulty. They would have to like add a little bit to kind of get it to go through. And I want to try one final thing here, guys. So I just traded Eberle to the Devils for like a 7th round pick, and I already traded for Ryan Strome. I think I gave up like a second on a prospect. So I want to see what Larsson and Strome's value is. Right there you can see the two players right on top of each other, which is kind of nice. In comparison to Hall and Eberle, just to see how these two trades stacked up are together. So you got Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle for Adam Larsson and Ryan Strome. Look at that value. I think, honestly, Larsson and Strome might have half the value that Hall and Eberle have. If they're lucky. Obviously, trade ejected. The big player here, though, I think, is Hall. Like, Hull's value there is so much more than every other player as part of this trade, and that kind of just shows you how little value Edmonton really got with that Taylor Hall trade. But that is it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the trade. Like I said, I get why they had to do it. They wanted to clear cap space, but I feel like they could have done this trade next year. So I really don't get what Chiarelli's doing. The next couple days here are definitely going to be interesting. Can't wait to see all the other trades that happen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave the thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.